und es ist mal wieder ein windiger Tag auf einer schönen schottischen Insel. Aber die Sonne lacht, es ist ein guter Tag und ich bin hier im kleinen Örtchen Lochranza. Hinter mir ist die Burgruine Lochranza, die wurde 1200 irgendwann so gebaut und 1500 wurde dann nochmal der Turm erweitert. Und ja, das ist ein Monument für was damals hier auf der Insel eigentlich schon alles abgelaufen ist. Aber heute soll es nicht um Geschichte gehen, sondern Lochranza hat auch eine Brennerei und die produziert den Isle of Arran Single Malt. Den schauen wir uns jetzt gleich an. Die Geschichte der Brennerei fängt 1995 an mit Harold Curry. Und er war ein Ex-Shivers-Manager, der sich so sein, ja, die Briten sagen Passion Project erfüllen wollte, also seinen Traum, eine eigene Brennerei zu bauen und seinen eigenen Malt zu machen. Und was sehr interessant ist, die Brennerei hat sehr, sehr lang einen nicht getorften Malz-Whisky hergestellt, aber sie haben trotzdem diese Pagoden. Die sind angelehnt an den alten Architekten Doig, der diese Pagoden entwickelt hat, auch Doig Ventilator genannt. Und ja, sie sind wirklich eigentlich nur dafür da, dass man erkennt, dass das eine Brennerei ist. Also jede gute Scotch-Brennerei braucht oben so eine Pagode. Und deswegen wurde die gebaut. Im Nachhinein sagen die Leute, hier in der Brennerei ist es nicht schlecht, weil sie bringt wirklich ein bisschen Luftzug durch. Es regnet nicht rein. Also so ein Doig-Ventilator ist eigentlich gar nicht so schlecht. Dann, 1995 wurde die Brennerei gebaut. 1997 wurde das Visitor Center hier hinter mir eröffnet und zwar von der Queen damals persönlich und ihr wurden dann 2 Fässer geschenkt für ihre beiden Söhne. Die Fässer sind sogar immer noch in der Brennerei, also man kann sich dann ausrechnen, wie alt die Fässer sind. Die sind mittlerweile schon ziemliche Special-Fässer. 1998 ist dann der erste 3-jährige Whisky im Grunde abgefüllt worden. Das war damals mit Ewan McGregor, der hat das erste Fass geöffnet und der hat sogar wirklich noch ein Fass in der Brennerei auch noch liegen. Und von da an ging es mit der Brennerei wirklich gut bergauf. 2017 hat die Brennerei dann erweitert, also das hier ist die Original-Still, die 1995 eingebaut worden ist von Forsyth und 2017 wurden sie dann ersetzt und auch gleich neue Stills eingebaut, gleiche Bauform, wieder von Forsyth. Der hat wahrscheinlich die Pläne noch gehabt von seinem Vater. Und diese Stills, auch noch ein bisschen hier so ein bisschen die Gerüchteküche, warum sehen die Stills so aus? Einerseits sagen die Leute, ja, er hat einfach Shivers Brothers irgendwas kopiert. Und andere Leute sagen, ja, seine Lieblingsdram war Macallan und deswegen sind sie Macallan nachempfunden. Was da stimmt, weiß man nicht ganz so genau. Es wurde 2008 auch mal mit rauchigen Malz experimentiert und das haben wir dann als Machemor und daraus entstand dann Lagg. Mittlerweile produziert sie gar nichts mehr an torfigen Malz, aber wir werden sehen das dann später in der Produktion. Was interessant ist, es wurde dann, es gab ein kleines Rebranding, denn jetzt gibt es 2 Brennereien auf Arran und deswegen haben sie, sie bleiben bei The Arran Single Malt, aber sie haben jetzt auf jeder Flasche auch noch draufstehen Lochranza Distillery. Also ein bisschen mehr Fokus auf Lochranza und weniger Fokus auf Arran. Ja, gut, und jetzt gehen wir mal weiter. Wir können nämlich auch wirklich heute schauen, wo das Wasser herkommt. Die Brennerei ist gleich neben einem Fluss, den Isenberg. Und der wird aus Loch Nadavi, einem kleinen See, eine Stunde Fußmarsch von hier entfernt, gespeist. Er hat sogar eine Untergrundquelle, also sind sie relativ gut unabhängig vom Regen. Also auch während trockenen Saison gibt es hier immer genügend Wasser. Die Wanderung bis zum Loch hoch ist 1 Stunde. Horst hat sie damals gemacht. Wunderschöne Wanderung. Er war im Sommer, da war alles viel grüner. Ich bin jetzt Anfang Frühling. Da fangen die Knospen langsam an zu sprießen. Das Wasser ist hier perfekt, sehr mineralarm, hat keine Sachen drin, die man irgendwie rausfiltern muss. Also sie nehmen es direkt hier aus dem Fluss, pumpen es in die Brennerei. Ja, natürlich nehmen sie noch die Gräser und was so, nehmen sie noch mit einem kleinen Filter raus. Aber ansonsten wird das Wasser überhaupt nicht bearbeitet und ist perfekt für die Whisky-Produktion. Und da gehen wir jetzt mal rein und schauen, wie das gemacht wird. Hinter mir ist die kleine Mash-Tun, wo wirklich das Brauen und Destillieren beginnt. Denn hier wird aus dem geschroteten Getreide wird die Stärke rausgewaschen und durch Enzyme zerlegt in Zucker, der dann genau richtig ist für die Fermentation. Interessant ist, die Brennerei hat am Anfang keine Mühle gehabt und sie hat das Getreide geschrotet, also das Malz geschrotet zugekauft. Also sie hatten wirklich diesen Schritt Mahlen am Anfang gar nicht in der Brennerei vorgesehen gehabt. Die Mühle wurde dann irgendwann 2000 rum nachgekauft. Und was auch noch interessant ist, die Brennerei hat schon extrem viel Computer hier und es wird sehr, sehr viel überwacht. Aber man hat immer noch das alte Equipment auch noch, wie zum Beispiel diesen Underbag hier. Und da kann man dann wirklich per Auge drauf schauen, okay, ist das dunkel genug? Denn bei einem Mash muss man schauen, dass es dunkel genug ist, beziehungsweise nur hier in der Brennerei, weil sie wollen ein Clear Wort haben. Und wenn das zu viele Stückchen drin hat, dann würde es Richtung Cloudy Wort gehen. Das würde eher Richtung grasigen Stil gehen. Sie wollen aber eher Richtung fruchtigen Stil. Und das ist ein wichtiger Punkt hier. Wenn man dann sagt, okay, zu viel Stückchen drin, dann würden Sie den Rechen ausschalten oder Rechengeschwindigkeit runterschalten oder noch verschiedene andere Parameter einstellen, um wieder mehr Richtung Clear Wort, klarer Maische zu kommen. Ja, wenn die Maische fertig ist, dann gucken wir uns mal als nächstes an, wie daraus Alkohol entsteht. Die Lochranza Brennerei hat 6 hölzerne Washbags mit 13.000 Litern Volumen. Und bei diesen zwei sieht man, okay, die sind ein bisschen neuer. Das liegt daran, dass die Erweiterung, diese Washbags hinzugefügt wurden und die alten Washbags sind immer noch vorhanden. Diese Washbags haben eine sehr, sehr lange Lebensdauer, irgendwo um die 50 Jahre rum, sagt man so. Worauf sie hier Wert legen bei Lochranza ist, sie wollen einen sehr fruchtigen Charakter. Sie haben 75 Stunden Fermentationsdauer mit einem Clear Wort und einer sehr fruchtigen Hefe. Und das gibt ihnen ein wahnsinnig schönes, fruchtiges Aroma. Das kann man hier auch wirklich schön riechen. Sie sagen, das sind so Gartenfrüchte oder so Plantagenfrüchte, also roter Apfel, grüner Apfel, Bananen und auch so ein bisschen so Zitrus, säuerliche Früchte sind auch mit dabei. Also ein richtig schön, frisch, fruchtiger Charakter, der hier bei den Washbags entsteht. Und dieses Wash geht dann weiter in die Destillation. Wie ich schon erwähnt habe, die Brennerei hat jetzt 4 Stills. Also als Horst noch da war, waren es noch 2. Und die standen im Grunde da, wo jetzt die Durchgänge zwischen den Wash Stills oder den Spirit Stills waren. Und jetzt hat man sie ein bisschen enger zusammengepackt und hat man 4 reingekriegt. Auch da hinten stand noch ein Charger, haben sie mir gesagt, der musste jetzt alles irgendwie nach unten weichen. Und jetzt hat man so eine schöne Linie an 4 Stills. Die Wash Still hat eine Kapazität, oder sie füllen sie mit 7500 Litern und die Spirits sind dann ca. 4300. Kommt darauf an, wie es gerade läuft. Und hier achtet man eben auch drauf, man will einen fruchtigen Charakter und versucht den grasigen Charakter rauszuhalten. Und wie sie das machen ist natürlich lange Hälse, gute Alkoholtrennung, vor allem in der Spirit Still. Unten kann man ein bisschen breiter sein, damit man Volumen hat, dass man destillieren kann. Aber eine gute Trennung ist sehr, sehr wichtig. Und was sie auch noch sagen ist, sie achten besonders drauf, was die Kondensatoren machen. Und die Kondensatoren sind relativ neu. Da kann man dann erkennen, wo kondensiert eigentlich die Flüssigkeit oder der Dampf zurück in die Flüssigkeit. Und das passiert schon relativ weit oben. Was sie dann sagen, für sie ist es besonders wichtig, dass sie ihr Destillat wirklich runterkühlen auf 20 Grad Celsius, um dann dort die fruchtigen Geschmäcker rauszubekommen und die grasigen rauszuhalten. Fragt mich nicht ganz, warum genau das so ist, habe ich nicht verstanden, wie ein Kondensator außen mit katalytischen Reaktionen den Geschmack beeinflussen kann. Aber es ist so. Also es ist ganz wichtig, dass hier die Kondensatoren richtig gut laufen. Ja. Weiter in der Spirit Still, das gleiche mit dem New Make. Er muss runter auf 20 Grad Celsius und dann ist es genau richtig bei Ihnen. Heute habe ich bei Ihnen Ihre Probierstärke bekommen. Normalerweise kriege ich immer direkt aus der Still, was irgendwo nur 68 oder manchmal sogar 70 hat. Heute haben sie es mir runtergewässert auf 20%. Und das ist wahnsinnig fruchtig. Also das ist wieder so, in einem Blind Tasting hätte ich gesagt, okay, jetzt habt ihr mir wirklich einen Birnenobstler hingestellt. Der ist richtig, richtig, richtig birnig, Apfel, frisch, fruchtig. Nochmal 20% ist der auch sehr angenehm zu probieren. Ja, schmeckt mir super. Gut, das ist dann der New Make Spirit. Und jetzt schauen wir mal, wie der ins Fass kommt. Die Lochranza Brennerei hat 3 verschiedene Arten von Lagerhäusern. Die erste klassisch, Dunnage, also 3 hoch, gestampfter Boden, sehr kalt. Und das waren auch die ersten Warehouses, also so ist die Lochranza Brennerei entstanden. Später wurden dann noch andere Warehouses hinzugefügt. Sie haben einmal die normales Racked Warehouses, wo man die Fässer so reinrollt. Die werden speziell für Wattings und Finishes genutzt, weil es einfach relativ praktisch ist. Und man sagt, man hat eine Charge, die wird dann in eine Reihe reingerollt und ist sehr praktisch und sehr leicht zum Rein- und wieder rausbringen. Also perfekt für Fassfinishes. Und das letzte Warehouse, was eine Art von Warehouse ist, ist ein spezielles Warehouse. Das ist von einem französischen Hersteller. Das wird eigentlich für Weinfässer verwendet. Denn in diesem Warehouse, ich schneide es euch hier mal rein, liegen die Fässer alle genau so, dass man sie perfekt probieren kann. Da liegen dann auch die Fässer von Harry und William und auch von Hugh McGregor mit seinem Siegel vorne drauf. Und die sind dann halt einfach klassisch, wo man ganze einzelne Fässer hat, so Special Bottlings, die man dann probieren kann und sieht, okay, ist es fertig, ist es nicht fertig. Also das sind so ist das Spezial-Warehouse, würde ich mal so nennen. Unglücklicherweise sind das französische System nicht darauf ausgelegt, Sherryfässer reinzubringen. Also es ist Hogsheads oder kleiner. Kann man natürlich Sherry Hogsheads auch schon dafür verwenden. Insgesamt in den palettierten Warehouses dann ganz am Schluss, da werden dann die Fässer stehend gelagert, aber das sind dann die jüngeren Fässer, die verwendet werden. Und man sagt, erstmal lassen wir sie stehen, jünger, weil es recht preiswert, effizient ist. Und da will man aber nichts Besonderes stehen haben, man kommt nicht ran und die Verluste in palettierten Warehouses sind auch ein bisschen höher. Das war's mit der Produktion und jetzt geht's weiter mit einem kleinen Interview. So this was it with the production and now we're going with a bit of a tasting and an interview with Stuart Bowman. You're the distillery manager, 6 years in the whiskey industry, 8 years in brewing, and you studied brewing and distilling.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
so you're really into distilling and brewing.
Love it. Come from 2 very famous whiskey regions. So I was originally born in Kentucky, Louisville, lived over there until I was about 7 or 8, and then lived the rest of my life up in the Highlands of Scotland, right beside Clynelish Distillery, Clynelish and Brora. So,
nice.
yeah.
Nice. So, thank you very much for having us here at the distillery. That is just a lovely place, and thank you very much for giving us all the information and showing us around. That was a nice tour. And so, you came from the brewing and now got into distilling. So, how similar is it?
There's a lot of similarities in there in terms of how we operate ourselves in breweries and in distilleries, but I guess it's a little bit different because I come from a craft brewing background. So in the brewery that I worked in, we did a lot of very strange beers. We used a lot of different hops, very high alcohol, very low alcohol in some instances. So we did a lot of kind of chopping and changing of different recipes and stuff all over the place. Whereas in distilleries, what we're more focused on is the nuance within the production process. So whiskey is an agricultural product. As the weather changes, the water changes, the malt changes with the seasons. So in order for us to hit our key focus and goal really at the distillery, which is the character of the whiskey and the quality of the new make that we're producing, we need to be a lot more focused on the fine details. Whereas a lot of the time in brewing, especially craft brewing, you're throwing stuff in there, doing some crazy experiments and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, very different.
Okay, it is different. Interesting. So, what are we having today?
We are going to try, first of all, the Arran 10-year-old, which is our main seller. It's about 40% of our production, and it is a lovely, very accessible, very drinkable dram.
Slange. This is really fruity. A light fruity. That reminds me a bit of a Northern Highland style.
Yeah.
Oh, that is intriguing to just drink me.
It is. It's so complex, and I love talking about the 10-year-old because as I say, the character of the spirit that we produce is fruity. So you've got the apples and the pears and the bananas and stuff, but you also have that kind of interlaced with the vanilla and the coconut from the wood. We've got 20% sherry casks within that recipe, so we've also got some of that kind of darker, more complex, heavy fruit flavors and wood aromas and everything. So it's one of those drams that every time you go back to it, you get something a little bit different from it. So it's
I like it. It's a really nice entry malt.
That's exactly it. In terms of price point, in terms of like how we market ourselves, it is something that we like to make sure that we are accessible. From a price point, it's very accessible, and wins a few awards, which is always good to see. Bit of validation. But it's a lovely smooth dram, very easy to drink.
Yeah, Slange.
Cheers.
Oh, that is pleasant.
Yep.
But yet still the fruitiness is a bit different to the new make I had.
Yeah.
You do have a bit of that sherry influence. But you still do have a lot of orchard fruit, definitely. And for me, it's very pleasant, fruity, because just today I just had Lagg.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And it's just.
Yeah. and they're very different. They do that kind of sweet peat thing. So it is very cool. But what I really love about all of the Arran drams, regardless if it's one of our core line, one of our older expressions like 18, 21, 25, is there's a huge amount of complexity to it. They're not one-dimensional whiskies. There's a huge amount of stuff going on. Yeah. And I think that's evident as we go through the core range.
Wow. Just flows around your mouth nicely.
Very smooth, nice mouthfeel, very oily, and it's just a wonderfully drinkable dram. Very easy and accessible.
So what you didn't see much in the distillery video is that you have a bit of construction going on. So what is that all about?
So we are building an extension to our tun room at the moment. So essentially a building that is on the north side of our existing tun room to house 4 new wooden washbacks. So exactly the same as the washbacks that we have in the existing distillery. And this will allow us to push up to the capacity of the original design of the distillery when it was upgraded in 2016.
Okay.
So we at the moment are a 5-day site, so we work through the week, we shut down on a Friday night and we start up on a Sunday night. So having the additional washback capacity allows us to work over the weekend, so doing essentially 20 mashes instead of 13 mashes a week, but it does so without compromising on the fermentation times and therefore the quality of the whiskey, and that's paramount.
Yeah, I think the fermentation time is kind of your bottleneck up till now. Yeah. So how many liters are you gonna then hopefully produce then per year?
So we're doing at the moment, as I say, 13 mashes a week, which is about 600,000 litres a year. With the new washbacks, we should be able to go up to somewhere over 1 million litres, maybe 1.1 million litres.
Really, 1 million?
Yeah. So it is quite a jump, but we've done an awful lot of work within the business in the past you know, kind of since I joined really about 15, 16 months ago, trying to model out the mashing and distillation times, trying to capture as much of the metrics that influence the quality of the whiskey, so that when we do move to 7 days, we're not just jumping into the void. You know, we're doing it in a measured approach, and we know that we will be able to, well, we believe that we will be able to keep the whiskey absolutely the same, but you never know until you get there. So that's the reason that we've captured all this information.
There's probably a little time where you have fluctuation and you settle in at the spot you want.
I think so, yeah. It might need a couple of tweaks, but we've got all the information, we've got the baseline to had, we've had our NMS analysed, looking at the kind of spectrum of compounds that influence the aroma and the flavours within the whiskey. So we know that if something starts to drift a little bit, we'll be able to figure out what that is and then reverse engineer it so that we can figure it out and make sure that we're making that classic Lochranza new make, because that's what everybody knows and loves.
Yeah, obviously that needs to stay.
Yeah.
So, but the next one is the quarter cask and called the Bothy, right?
Called the Bothy, yes.
Yeah, I actually had that before, and I know what I'm getting into.
Okay.
But it's one hint it's nice.
I guess one of the main differences, apart from the fact it's a non-age statement from our 10-year-old, is it is cask strength. So we're up at 56.2%. So we do have a little bit of water here if you want to temper it down. But it is, again, a very classic Arran dram. Apple, obviously, you know, doesn't have sherry casks in it. It's purely, so what we do with this is we take 6 and 7 year old whiskey that's been matured in bourbon casks, and we vat that out into quarter casks, which are obviously you know, half the size of an American standard barrel, 100 litres, and then we leave that for about a year and allow the higher wood to liquid ratio really push the wood influence onto the whiskey.
Just give it a boost.
Give it a big boost, absolutely. But as a distiller, I always like to see the distillery character in there, and it still is evident. You've still got that kind of stewed apples, quite a bit of banana, that fruity backbone there that works very well with that wood influence.
I like it. It has definitely a bourbon cask character to it for me.
Yeah,
and yeah, nice.
What I find is it has more of a piney, potentially herbal characteristic, which I think maybe comes from the wood. But lovely dram.
Does the ABV tend to vary, or does it stay the same? Is it a batch one?
It's a batch one. So it's cask strength. So we would vat that at the bottlers and then just take it down a little bit. So it's it is slightly reduced in terms of ABV, but the water's a good addition as well, because it is well up there.
It's quite strong. But it's a nice cask strength, and that's what cask strength are made for. Yeah, you can enjoy them at the ABV that you want. So tell me a little bit about the blending process when you take the bourbon cask into other casks. How is that done here?
Well, it's done when I took over this position in November 2021. Our production director, James McTaggart, who had previously been the distillery manager here and had worked at Bowmore previous to that, so a lot of experience within the industry. We sat down and talked about essentially the recipes that he used to create all of the expressions. And they are, they're relatively formulaic, so there is a formula behind them, but we need to be able to flex with what the whiskey actually smells and tastes like, and also the stock that we have available. So, for example, the 25-year-old, which we'll come on to later on, that will change year on year because we only have a small parcel of those casks, and it means that we need to bottle the best of that we can find within that age range. So a lot of it, and I don't have a huge amount of experience blending whiskey, nosing whiskey and stuff like that. My experience is more with the beer side of things, but a lot of things are very transferable in terms of the skill sets. And one of the main ones is being able to, it sounds really simplistic, but being able to tell good whiskey from bad whiskey and good beer from bad beer. And it is, and part of it is training, but part of it is instinctive. So it's kind of, it was a bit of a leap of faith for me coming in and doing the blending for Isle of Arran Distillers. But it's such a fun part of what I do, because it means I have quite a bit of creativity. And we looked at the blending lab earlier on. There's some samples set up there, and it's really great to just step away from the day-to-day running of the distillery and be able to do something that I can really kind of put my focus and attention into.
Great.
Yeah.
So the next one is called the Bodega.
Bodega, sherry cask.
That's the sherry cask.
Heavy.
Yeah, I do love that. What you have with the, I'm quite sure what number was the warehouse with the French racks. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, no, neither had I. It was a bit of a surprise. So that was a French wine racking system that I guess by design allows the vineyards to get in and turn the casks.
Turning is the idea behind that.
I think so. That's what I've been led to believe. But I don't. Obviously, we don't do that in the distillation industry, because every time you turn a cask, you lose a little bit of whiskey, which you really don't want to do. So, but what it, as Andy had said, what it does do is it allows us to get in there and sample from every cask and regauge every cask. So if a customer has a requirement, we can get in and send them away a sample and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love the view when you walk down the aisles and you have a look, and there were like tons of different sizes of casks, and it looked like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no,
that was amazing.
It's a really nice place, and there's a lot of very good whiskey in there. So hallowed ground.
Yeah, it's really nice. So the Bodega is one of the big sherry casks finishes then.
Yep. So again, cask strength, 55.8% ABV. So very high in ABV, but massively aromatic, and everything you would expect from a sherry finish release. So again, you've still got that backbone in there. You've still got the apples and the orchard pears and everything like that from the new make spirit, but that is kind of almost hidden behind all of those big sherry notes, and the classic sherry notes, your dark fruits and your chocolate and raisins and stuff like that. Quite floral as well, actually.
I was about to say that. I have a little bit of a rose in there.
Yeah.
Strangely enough.
Yeah.
It has a little bit of a perfume note to it. And well, in the flavor, nicely sweet, mild, but very fruity also. Very fruity.
I find this one a little bit more balanced. Like some people struggle a little bit with some of our releases because they are so sweet. There's so much fruit esters in there, and there's so much sweetness because of the tannins that we've got from the sherry casks. I think it's a little bit more balanced. So there's a little bit. Yeah, the sweetness is tempered a bit.
So now that you say the finish is a bit more with tannins, oak, and a bit more the hefty. Is that European oak? Is that knowledge here? Is that European, or is that just sherry something?
I think it's just sherry. Yeah, I mean it's all the red cherries and the dark fruits from the sherry, but also a lot of the influence of the spicy characters from the woods, your cinnamons and a little bit of clove and stuff like that as well, which just adds to the complexity. But
yeah, strangely that the aftertaste is pretty spicy for what I've had with the 10 and the quarter cask. So I do like it. As you said, balanced. You have a fruity sweetness start, and then you have kind of a journey whiskey.
Absolutely,
a flavor journey till the very end. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I remember your distillery started in 1995, and so you're nearly 30 years old now. Is there going to be a 30-year-old release then at some point?
We are certainly looking at some of the older expressions. I can't commit to anything at the moment because that is reliant on stock that's available in 2025 when we do turn 30 years old. But yeah, we are looking at older expressions of the Arran-Loch because it's the stuff that we've had so far is beautiful. Very, very nice whiskey. What we have, obviously, as we move up the ages with everything, is that mellowness really starts to come through, and it allows that kind of. You've still got the complexity, and you've still got everything in there that's making it a really, really interesting dram. But it's very, very relaxed and very silky, I find, in terms of mouthfeel and everything. So. Yeah, leave that one with us. We'll work on that one.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, when you have the hobby of whiskey, you have to have patience.
Absolutely, yes. That's the key ingredient.
You have the warehouse, and the warehouse is just sitting there and waiting.
That's it.
So speaking of old whiskeys, huh? Then 25 years.
Yeah.
That was like 3 years ago when you came out with that, or.
We do a 25-year-old release every year, as well as an 18 and a 21. Very, very small volumes. Obviously. So only like 4,800 bottles or something like that, because we don't have a huge amount of the old stock left. Obviously, back in the day, the production volumes were a lot lower. So not quite as much of this out in the market, but a wonderful dram.
Ooh, that is.
Yeah.
What is that? That smells like Christmas and cake and
That's it.
That is very, very round. The other one, you started off pretty fresh and with a nice bourbon character, cherry and a bit of spiciness. And this one is just mature and round and velvety. Oh, I love that. It's nice that you have a kind of a young distillery. You don't have like 18, 20 and something, but you still got 25-year-olds, so I really love that.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it allows us to look at that older stock and have a bit of fun with it as well. I mean, the vast majority of the older stuff is in sherry butts or sherry hoggies, so obviously getting quite a lot of that colour from it. But just the settling time, the time, as you say, in the maturation, to just allow it to mellow and just chill, is just puts a wonderful dram together.
I mean, to imagine this is 25 years old, probably. What was his name? Harold
Curry. Yeah.
He probably looked over that, or maybe not. I'm not
I'm
sure.
sure he would have. And
this is a bit of a piece of
one of the previous, the first distillery manager here, Gordon Mitchell. Yeah, they would have been the ones that making this and driving the direction of the company and everything. So it's great history in a glass there. Yeah, I love that Christmas cake reference as well. It's perfect. Encapsulates just the whole thing.
I love. Above 18 is kind of like the best for a whiskey, but 21 also, but I love the 25. It's just older. It's just amazing.
Mellow coating, the oiliness and the texture of it, I love.
Nice.
Yeah.
But it has a bit of a kick to it as well. How many ABVs? It's 46.
46, yeah. So
it's not just age, but you have a bit of a spicy note to it, a bit of a fruity note to it. But the fresh fruity note it's still a little bit there. It's just becoming a nuance, and all the dried fruits, ripe fruits, red fruits, they're overtaking here. I love it.
Yeah. I guess that's where you've seen that graph about how the character develops over time of whiskey. With obviously the distillery influence starts very high, the wood influence starts very low. They do that and intersect at a certain stage and then go up. So the 25-year-old is definitely more wood driven than anything else. Whereas some of the younger expressions that we had earlier on have much more of that kind of fruit at the forefront.
Now, second sip. Finish, it even got a little bit of a chocolatey, dark chocolatey note to it. Oh, I love that. I think I'll take that glass with me.
One for the travels.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, that is good. Thank you. Yeah. So great work around here, and thank you very much for the interview. Thank you for sharing all your knowledge, and
Great. Well, thank you very much for coming across. Yeah, it was great to chat and show you around the place and everything. It's always
it was lovely time. We had nice weather and everything. Yeah, it was great. So thank you very much for watching this video. And if you've found this video interesting and you have friends who might be interested in this video, then please feel free to share this video with your friends. And if you happen to live in the Netherlands, Germany or Austria, you can buy this on whiskey.com or whiskey.de. Yeah, thank you very much for watching and see you next time.